Welcome back. A South African man, Kezi Nair, has been arrested after using a racial slur to describe President Cyril Ramaphosa. In the nearly 5 minutes long rant, Mr. Nair says that the president should be charged for frauding and oppressing the nation and for being the source to all crime, violence, poor healthcare and poverty in the country. Mr. Nair is due to appear in court on the charge of crimen injuria, which is defined as impairing the dignity of another. In the video, Mr. Nair criticizes the current government, saying that it's continuing the policies of racial division. However, local media reports that his family says he has mental health problems and needs help. In Liberia, the journalist who broke the news about the millions of dollars gone missing says his life is being threatened. Philip Burt Brown, while speaking to local media, says he has had to get police protection after he and his staff had received several calls from strange people who threatened to kill him. Meanwhile, citizens have been reacting to the news as the government has ordered an investigation into the disappearance of the banknotes.
The level of rampage corruption is affecting our country. It's not only the country, but affecting the poor masses. If I walk along the street and look at the cripples, look at the blind, I know that now you are riding an air-conditioned car which you have been riding, but many people cannot afford. Majority of the families in Liberia today, they go to bed on an empty stomach.
It have triggered the effect on me, it have effect on you, it have effect on everyone of us, because if money is circulating in the economy, that those that are supposed to account for it cannot account for it, it's troubling. I'm calling on the ambassador, Dr. George Manuel, we are to be able to promptly investigate the master as to see who is responsible. If any of the government officials are responsible, they should be brought to justice.
Authorities in Somali have arrested 4 soldiers who have been accused of killing a 9-year-old schoolgirl. She had been returning home on a school bus when the soldiers started shooting live rounds to get traffic moving in the capital. The young girl, who was buried earlier today, was hit by a stray bullet while she was in her school bus eating an ice cream. Following her funeral, her grieving family has demanded justice. Soldier shooting near crowds is a common sight in Mogadishu, but the police chief is now promising to persecute anyone who fires live rounds which endangers civilians. Somalia is slowly recovering from decades of civil war, but security remains a big challenge. Coca-Cola recently announced an ambitious goal of recycling every plastic bottle it produces by 2030. A look at East Africa shows how the company is attempting to achieve this goal while faced with pressure from the government and a Chinese ban on plastic waste imports.
Coca-Cola has given itself 12 years to recycle the equivalent of every bottle it sells around the world. In East Africa, the beverage giant is attempting to self-regulate while faced with a government threat to ban plastic bottles and restrictions on plastic waste imports in China. Last year, Kenya implemented a disruptive ban on plastic carrier bags, and manufacturers expect legislation against bottles will be next. Plastic bottles litter urban areas in East Africa's biggest economy and frequently clog storm drains, exacerbating floods before some of it ends up swirling around the ocean. In neighboring Uganda, the company is already operating a recycling plant in Kampala, employing over 40 people, and recycles waste bottles collected from as far as Rwanda and South Sudan.
This major aim of this plastic recycling is to collect all what we submit there in the field. So the target is to get 100 plastic cells, what we sell into the environment, what the consumer consumes from our plastic, we get them back, recycle and put them to use.
Until recently, a few Asian countries were the biggest buyers of plastic waste globally. But after China restricted waste imports due to environmental concerns, developing countries have had to find alternatives.
The world was stunned when China put a ban on the importation of certain types of plastic flakes. That was our biggest export destination from Uganda. Uganda was actually exporting up to $4 million a year in plastic flakes, made from waste such as this. But China made that change, and other countries have quickly snapped up the market. Right now we're exporting to India, Turkey. We have customer queries from Canada, other countries in Europe. And there are more coming out. But more importantly, there's also a high demand here in Kampala, in Uganda. We have plastic manufacturers who use these same flakes in their processes, and they're very happy, instead of importing them from other countries, to get them from right here, because they are contributing to the incomes of people, such as these ladies you see here, and the youth who collect these bottles out there, as well as removing plastic waste from the environment.
According to a report on the recycling industry by the International Labour Organization, approximately 15 to 20 million people work as informal waste pickers in developing countries. Formalization and organization of workers can turn waste collection and management into a very significant opportunity for social inclusion.
In short, plastic to us is not waste. We see it as beneficial. When I see it, I don't see it as a problem. I know this is what feeds me, and I know it feeds a lot of people. So I don't see it as a problem. I'm happy.
For now, China's ban on trash highlights the need for plastic manufacturers, particularly in developing countries, to recycle and accept more responsibility for their products, which pollute the environment.
Let's go now to an old neighborhood in Cairo, Egypt, where a visually impaired couple is living the true meaning of disability is not inability. Heba and Sumer, a married couple, own a store selling bamboo furniture, which they build by hand to make a living for themselves. Take a look.
Samir Garber and his wife Heba Mahmoud, both visually impaired, sit in the living room of their Cairo home, weaving bamboo shoots into bags and chairs to make a living. The small business, which they started together in 2013, was a way for them to earn an income enough to feed their 2 young children. With little or no assistance, both Garber and Mahmoud have taught themselves how to weave colorful bamboo shoots into designs of various shapes and sizes.
I taught myself how to weave bamboo. As soon as I bought 2 bamboo baskets, which is a hard material, I learned how to handle the sticks and to make shapes out of them, to weave them, where to pull from, and where the stick should end up. I had to learn all of these details from the very beginning, even before I learned from my wife how to work with this material.
Garber's brother helps him differentiate between the colors when making the products, or he accompanies Mahmoud to the market where they buy the shoots for their designs. But Garber says the business is suffering as he is unable to sell his products and has for the past 2 years been borrowing money to pay his finances. Today, he is in debt, and with no potential customers, Garber is unable to pay his children's tuition. His wife suffered from vision problems when she was only 1 year old, while Garber became visually impaired in an accident some 15 years ago. But the couple started a life together despite their families' reservations.
Our families wondered how we would get married, how we would raise children, or how we would live with each other. They used to ask us how we would turn on a stove or just deal with each other on a regular basis. I said to them that we would be fine. I had seen visually impaired couples before make marriage work just fine.
Each product typically takes just a few hours to complete and is usually sold for less than 100 Egyptian pounds.
That's it on the program. Thanks for watching. I'm Teniola Shobowale.